So now you can see that the markings are done over here. Like for example, if this is a dimension, you can see this is the extension line over here, the two dots over here, the extension lines, and the text is over here. And this is how, and then 330 is the thickness. You can see 330, so you can inspect it. Now you can see that there are 3 by 3 skylight at 4 locations. So there's a distance that even from edge to edge where it is required, where the skylight location has to be put. This is basically a truss or roof section that you are seeing. And then you have different kind of sectional with sheet number, section number 1, sheet 1 S03 is the section that you can look for. And then you can see a lot of extension lines over here at this. Take another example of a wall base over here. This is a typical example that I showed you here. Here we have this a wall where we have the locations of the windows here. EF is the tags of the window of different sizes, and it shows a continuous dimension which is done from the edge to edge, showing the edge location of the dimension. You have complete. Now you can see it is in the 3 levels. First level shows the entire dimension of the wall site, and the second shows the between the center of the wall, like you have the edge, then you have the center of the wall, and then to the edge of the wall. So now the next is shows the dimension of the window. So these are the techniques by which you do the dimensions. Now you can see that the baseline dimension has been shown over here. Very interestingly, there's a shaft over here. Now you can see there's a stairway over here, there's a shaft over here. Now it shows about that the location of various points, like one is 6 feet 6 inches from this particular base, and then you have got the another one is at a particular distance. Now you can see different dimensions are taken from a single base. So it shows about 20 feet, and then you have this this dimension which is 16 feet, and the lower dimension as 6 feet 6 inches. So the use of these dimensions are where you are taking this as the edge of reference for construction process. So then you have this continuous dimension over here, and different options you can see. Now some of the shortcuts that I wanted to tell you about, let's say if you select any of the dimension line, then here you can see that dimension style annotative measurement, it shows about 8 feet 6 inches over here, right? So you can see that here we have the dimensions of the opening here, and then you can see the various center of the walls are dimensioned from the edges over here. So somewhere when you have the wall center lines, you have to locate the wall center lines as per the norms. But the architecture drafting and civil drafting has a particular standards by which the dimensions can be clearly seen on the screen over here. Now let's take an example from a structural civil project, that is something like this. Now let me explain you what exactly. This is the typical plan of a platform of a rapid transit metro. Here you can see that the various walls, like the diaphragm walls or the walls, are measured from the main walls. They are giving the center dimension, like the center line, and you can see 2150, 1780. The dimensions has to be as per the standards. Now you can see there are different kind of boxes over here. The spacings are given. It's a continuous dimension that has been made. And going forward, you can see the continuous dimensioning has been made over here, where you are doing a piece of work where the job work has to be done and the dimension has to be taken of let's say first it gives the width of this particular shaft, and then it gives the center line location of this particular the dimension from where you take, and so that the alignment of it becomes correct. And here you have the shaft where it's very straight away, you give the dimension of the length and the width. Let me take an example of this lift pit, where you can see that the exterior wall dimension is given over here with a symbol called lift pit over here. Let me go to the elevation part. So in the elevation part, you can see the levels are given over here. So TOP, top of plate platform, or base slab TOP 9.610 meter rail level, and then you have got these dimensions which are given in millimeters. Assume. So you can see the different entities, like there's a base rail level is there, and 1610 is the base block. So the distance between these two is 1610, then you have 1090, then you have the concourse level, the top concourse level. You can have the line, the running line over here, which is at a distance of 6550 from the platform level. So these dimensions are very, very important. Now look into it from the other aspect. You have the grid lines, where the grid lines are also dimensions. And now you can see this particular, now you can see the depth of this particular cavity over here. This is 2400 over here. The railway platform is here. Then you have the OT level and the dimensions are given. So where the single dimensions are required, you are supposed to give those dimensions. Otherwise, it depends upon how the construction process works ahead. So let's take an example of a staircase right now. So this is in a simple staircase where you can see that the dimension of the landing is given from the base. Now you can see that there's a particular dimension which is given and the height is given over here. And then you have this different kind of landing. You can see that the landing width is given over there. And some of the dimensions, some of the texts are written as leader. Now you can see leaders are keynotes, like it says there's a leader. So we'll be learning about leaders, how leaders can be used. So you learn about linear dimension, you learned about the aligned dimension. In some cases, you learned about the angular dimension. Let me check it out if I have any. So this is something that, this is another case where you have the plates over here, the flanges over here, the connections here, and it gives you what is the top of the beam. So here is the value that is the top of the beam from this particular level, and here you have this detail of the section, which is a call out or a blow up diagram. So again, this is a leader. So if you want to write something with the text, you have to use the leader. Now it gives the thickness. Now the thickness of this particular section shows that it is a half inches over here. So this is the section detail, and let me take it down to another exterior elevation here. Now here you can see how the linear dimensions are used for the wall. So they haven't used, the drawing is not used with the angular dimension, because here we have the slope already written with the text command. So you have this particular roof, or the soffit of the roof is at a distance of linear dimension. You can see they are not giving you the aligned dimension. You don't require an aligned dimension because you want to, there's an elevation that you are having, and now you can see the various levels of it has been given over here, like the bottom of the window, top of the door, top of the window, second floor of slab, and so on. This way the better dimensioning can be done. Okay, now let me check it out, tell you about some of the things that I want to mention here about the center mark, and then we will be doing a dimension in the one first we will be doing the dimensions in the plan, that the week 4 challenges that we had given, so that you can understand how the dimensions can be made before we conclude the session. And we will also be learning about leaders, how the leaders can be written. So if you look into this, these texts are written by leader. So there's a head and there's a tail and there's a base over here of the leader, and there's a text over here. So we will learn about it in this session itself. And before that, I would be taking you the session of, giving you how the center mark can be done in circles and arcs, and there's a Centerline commands, and then come to the leader. And again, there is in this particular panel, you see that there's a style over here that will be there, and the layer in which you want to give this a layer. Let's say if you're doing a dimension and you want to put it in a different layer, we'll also discuss while we are doing the hands-on right now. Okay. So now I want to tell you about the use of Centerline command and the center mark. Now you can see these two commands are here next to the dimensions. So these are also very important. Then maybe not a part of the dimension family, but these are also required while you're creating the documents. So before I go forward towards dimensioning, so let me mention about the center mark and the center line. So it's very simple, friends. If you want to create a center line between two parallel lines, for example, this, to show, let's say this is the center of the circle, circular pipe which is going here, and if you want to show the center line of this particular pipe going between these two lines, so you can have the center line. It says select first line, and then you select the second line. So you have this first line, and then you have the second line. Friends, you can see that the center line is already created between these two lines. So if it is an inclined line, let's say I have an inclined line like this. So let's say you have a 9 inches, let's say a wall line. Let's say if you want to create a center line, and select two lines, both of them, and you can see the center line is developed. So if you want to have the center mark of the circle, for example, or the center mark of the arc, then you can have this center mark option here, and then you can select the arc, and you can see the center mark is the circle first, and then the arc, the center mark is done. So you can increase or reduce the size of the center mark from the dimension style. So we can talk about them later in the session. So this is what about the center line. Now I would be doing the leaders in the next session about the multi-leaders and other thing, but quickly I want to tell you about the quick leader option, where you can basically do some kind of, let's say I take a section over here. So you have this leader, how these are created. So the leader is having a leader line, a base, and there's an arrow over here. So friends, there is a command called QLeader that you can use it. That's a quick leader. So you have this QLeader option, and press enter. Now it says specify first leader point. So let's say if I want to specify first leader point, and it says specify next leader point. I put the ortho off, and then it talks about the next point. So then it talks about first line of the annotation text. So if you want to write something, let's say I want to write W250. So you can see that with the text. You press enter. So it is written W240. So now if you want to have it in a different layer, you can select this leader line and leader. So this is having two components, the leader line and the text. Both of them can go to different layers. So here, let me switch it off. So let me put this object to the layer called, okay. So it talks about that if you use this, let me select this object, and then what you can do is you can push it into a different layer, or you can match the properties. Let's say if I want to match it, so it moves to a different layer. So this is how you create a leader. And then there are certain options. Let's say in the QLeader option, there's an option called settings, and there are various options in the setting, like the annotation, like the leader line and arrow, and the attachment. Let's do some of them, not all of them. So when you are using this, the default settings of the leader, here we have the annotation, right? The annotation type is text or copy an object or a tolerance or a block, reference or none. So if you are using the leader, you can see that the text is coming. So if you don't want anything to come, so you can say none. Okay. Or if you want to copy an object along with it, so you can select the object that you want to have. Let's say I say copy an object, right? Let's say here what I select a circle over here, and I go with QLeader, and see, it's very interesting. Now if you go with settings here, and you say copy an object, so I give the first point over here, let's say from where I want to start, and select an object to copy. So I selected in the object. So in this case, the object should be a block. This is not a block. It should be a text or an text or something. So since I have created this circle, this object will not be attached to it if it is not a block. So we'll be doing the block in the next sessions, probably further sessions. But let's say if I have a text written over here, and if I say exterior facade, exterior, and let's say if I do a QLeader and go for a setting over here, so here it says copy an object, and I do it. So every time I don't want to go and do the settings, so I do it. Let's say now you can see there are only 3 points that it's taking, and let's say I put it here, so it is copied over here. So I've just changed the spelling of it. I do an edit text, so I say exterior. Now you might be very inquisitive about the blocks that I mentioned, right? So let me tell you how the blocks can be done. Let's say this circle is converted into a block, which is by B block definition. So let me make it like this. Let's say I put it 1, and select the object, and here we go, and big point, the center, and the OK. Now let's say if I want to have this the queue leader with the block that I created, settings. So I have this block reference, or you can copy an object. I mean, in the copy object also it will work. Let me first insert the block that I have created over here. Okay, so now I go with the queue leader, and copy an object is there. You select this, and you have this leader, and here you go. Now you can see that the circle is copied over here. So copying an object can be a text, text, or a block. This is how the leaders are created. Now, let's say if there is a staircase, it's a very typical example where you want to put the up and down. Let's say I don't have a plan over here. I can use this as a typical example. So here I want to give a leader to show the up direction. So I go with the queue leader, and here I go to the settings. Okay, and that's fine. Now I can put an text, or another thing is that the leader line can be a straight with the arrowhead. You can select. Let's say I want a close blank. There is no angle constraint, so it can be at any angle. The leader can be at any angle, and number of points I limit to 3 over here, because now you can see that in the third point the leader gets end. So now it is a straight line. So we'll be doing some with these particular options, how it works. So let's come back to our project over here. So let's say here the first leader point would be, let's say, where the arrow is, and you can press the ortho on because the angle is not restricted. So first, second, third. Now you can see no lines can be created because you're restricted to 3 points. Now here you can give the text width is 0. Let's keep it 0, and you say up. So you can see that it is skewed and the up is written over here in order to adjust the text. Now if I want many more points over here, so what I do is I do with queue leader, and I go with settings, and I say, okay, I need 4 points. So at an angle of, let's say, 90 degree, right? So now if I say this, so if I put the ortho off, it will go at now you can see that first angle was at 90 degree. So this is 0 degree, so it is not specified. So it is you can give only one angle. So now you have got 4 points, and press enter, and now you can press the text over here. So now you'll be wondering why this angle is skewed, because you have taken 90 degree. So this is at 90 degree. So you can try with various options in the leader option, queue leader option. So the last thing that I wanted to show you is about the arc option in the queue leader. You have the queue leader here, and you have the settings over here, and then you can go with the arc option here. So that is a spline option, not an arc. So you have the 45 degrees, let's say, at any angle I give, and let's say you have the arc option. Just clean it, so you can see that the arc option is here. So you can have the leader with the spline. So you can write something, let's say roof, or whatever it is. So this is then the arrow size again is a problem, because it depends on the style again. So we'll be looking into it in the next sessions. Let's do the dimension for this project so that we learn how to do it, and then the next session I'll be talking about tables. I'll be talking about dimension styles, multi-leaders, and various other things which will make you more productive. And there is one thing called the quick dimensions. I think quick dimension is something that you want to do quick. Let's say if you have a polyline, bunch of polyline, let's say I go with a polyline option, right? And you want to do a quick dimension of this polyline. So you click on this quick dimension and select the polyline. You can see. So now it says select geometry. Press enter. Now you can see the dimension is done quickly. So quick dimension is if you want to do something very quick, like for example this particular option, the quick dimension helps you a lot. So then we have this the last options that I would like to show you before I go quickly with my how do we dimension an elevation or a plan that a project that you have. So let's say you have this text. So if you want to align it, one option is select the text and there's a grep over here. Click on the grep and then you have move with the dimension line. Now here we have the option. So if you click on this, you can move the text. So this is overriding the justification. Now move text only means you're just moving the text. Just put your mouse over here. Then you say move with leader. That means there would be a text with the leader, right? And here also, if you select the dimension over here, and then you have this above the dimension line, it will move above the dimension line, center vertically, so it is center vertically, and then reset text position, that means as it was previously. So let's go with the alignment option also. Here you have this option for the alignment. So this is basically the oblique, obviously, when you want to text angle that can be done. Let's say start with the text angle. So let's say if you have select this text and you want to have it at 90 degrees, so you can have it at 90 degree. So this is how the text angle can be changed, and select the text angle. You can have the home option. So this is basically specify new dimension angle. You can make it 0. And then you can go with the left and right. Left justify, select it, it will push it to the left. So if you go with the center, it will be towards the center. And let's say if you go with the right, it will go towards right. And then if you want to reset the position, so clear overrides. So clear overrides is something a system variable tool. So here we have this. Then if you want to restore it, so select it. So select it and then you can reset text position over here. Now let's see if it works or not. So if you say reset text position, so it is works. So if you want to stretch the dimension, there are some, these are the extension lines. This is a dimension line. You can stretch it, you can reduce it to a particular point. Now you can see how it is reduced. So that's all about the some quick tips and tricks regarding the dimensions, and we'll do more of it uh, in the later part. So let's do a quick dimension of this particular project. Now you can see here. So here we have this first of all, when we start dimensioning it, we are doing an imperial. There is a style that is standard, and then you have to select the layer in which you want to dimension. You have to have a dimension layer for the dimension. Definitely I took the dimension layer. Then I go with the full dimension, that's a linear dimension, I would go along with the full dimension. And then if I want to give the center dimension of the center of the wall, so I have to mark the center of the wall. For the center of the wall, I can always have the center line option like this. So I can have the center line, so that center line is mentioned over here. So I would go with dim linear and select the center here, let's say, because it's a partition wall. And then I can go with the continued dimension, dim continue, and here I go and I do it. So this is something that has to be understood about when you are dimensioning it. Similarly, if you want to dimension the this part, that is the right hand side part, so I'm removing this dimension, I can go continue a dimension. Now if I'm looking forward for the wall thickness, then what I can do is I can straightly go with the linear dimension here, and I can select this dimension and then go with the 9 inches over here. So if I want to move this dimension somewhere, so just click it over here, move with dimension line or move with leader. I can move it up, and then I can go with dim continue. Now select the dimension from where you want to continue. Here either you can give the center line, or because you're giving the thickness of the wall, you can do it straight away. But the standard says that you should go with the center of the wall if you are centering the wall on site. So this is how you do the dimensioning of the walls with dim center. And then we can have some more examples. We'll be giving you more challenges to do. And if we can do more of it, let's say I go to the section over here. Let's say I take a building section, and I can have the dimensions done over here with the linear dimension or the align dimension, or I can make it associative, I can make it non-associative, and there are other things that I can do. Okay, apart from that, if I need to change some text over here, let's say for example there's a leader that is given over here. So I've mentioned about how we can use leader, so about multi-leaders and other things I can do, but some quick things that I want to share. One thing is called the markups. So you have this revision clouds. For example, if you are doing a revision cloud, for example, you are revising a drawing and you are a site engineer and you are supposed to revise and do a markup. So you can have a rectangular cloud over here. So you can say, so now you can see that the cloud is having very small kind of. So let's go with my challenge over here, because these are default setting. So let's say if I go with the revision cloud here, so I take a rectangular cloud, then we have this arc length, object, rectangular, polygon, freehand, style, modify. So I'm not going to do all of them. Let's say if I want to do a freehand, so I'm doing a freehand kind of thing. I'm giving a cloud. The use of cloud is that there has to be a revision. For example, I want to revise the store and change it. So what I do is I create a revision cloud over here. It's a markup, and then I use it as a rectangular markup. You can try a polygonal one, and so you can have a revision over here. So I did a freehand. So the command is ref cloud. So if there is an object I want to convert into a ref cloud, so let's say it's a rectangular object I want to convert into a revision cloud, I can select the revision cloud option, and there's an option called object option. Now you can see the object option. Select the object. Now this object will be converted into a revision cloud. So I think we can have more sessions of dimensioning further, and hope you have enjoyed this session, and definitely will be giving you more work to do in dimensions, so that and more lessons ahead in the next sessions, where we will be talking about typical constraints in dimension, what are the dimension standards used worldwide and in the construction industry, and I think I have covered most of the tools over here. So if I have not covered, then I can basically uh, take down those options or tools in the next sessions. Thank you so much.